today we are going to be learning about converting customary units of capacity. Okay, so before we begin, let's go over our vocabulary. First of all, what is capacity? Capacity is how much an object can hold, and it's usually going to be found in liquid. All of the different units we will be using today are measurements of liquid. Now these measurements that we're going to be working with today are gallon, quart, pint, cups, and fluid ounces. Now if you go to your conversion chart that you have glued into your math notebook, you will find that you do have this exact chart here that has all of the different conversions for capacity. Now, before we move on, I just want to tell you the story of King Gallon. So once there was a big king named King Gallon. King Gallon married 4 different queens, and each of those queens had 2 princesses of their own. Now each of those princesses owned 2 cats, and each of the cats drank 8 ounces of milk every day. So why am I telling you the story of King Gallon? Well, it's because King Gallon can help you doing customary conversions of capacity. Now, you might notice that in my drawing of King Gallon over here, I have a giant G. This G stands for a gallon. Within a gallon, there are 4 quarts, or his 4 queens. Each of those queens had 2 princesses, or 2 pints. 2 pints in a quart. And then each of those princesses had 2 cats. The 2 cats stand for cups. And my drawing doesn't look super neat here, but you get the point. And then each of those cats, or the cups, have 8 fluid ounces within them. Okay, so this is a really great visual, and I'm going to be using this throughout the video. I highly recommend that you draw this in your notebook and that you have this, because personally I like it a lot better than using the conversion chart on your FSA sheet. Alright, so we're going to start out by converting bigger to smaller. Okay, so first of all, we have 6 gallons equals how many quarts? What you could do is you could say to yourself, okay, going bigger to smaller, I need to multiply, and you could use your customary conversions chart in your FSA sheet, and you could say to yourself, well, 1 gallon equals 4 quarts, and so then you would need to multiply 6 times 4, and 6 times 4 is 24, so you would know that you need 24 quarts. Now let me show you what it looks like when you're using King Gallon. So let me draw my King Gallon right here real quick. And each of those has 2 cups. Okay. So I will say to myself, okay, I have 6 gallons. So that means that this King G right here, I have 6 of them. How many quarts will that be? The way that I count this is I say to myself, okay, in 1 gallon, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 quarts. So 4 of those multiplied by 6 gives me 24. It's just a little different way of looking at it. Let's try it with the next problem. 3 pints into how many cups? So I can see here that on my drawing of King G, 1 pint has 2 cups. So if I have 3 of those pints, let's see, I have 1, 2, 3. Let's count how many cups I will need. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I need 6 cups. I also could use my customary conversion sheet and say that 1 pint equals 2 cups. And I recognize that I'm going from bigger to smaller, so I'm going to multiply. 3 times 2 gives me 6. Either way, it works. Alright, let's convert smaller to bigger. So when we go from smaller to bigger units, we know that we need to divide. Okay? So if I have 38 ounces and I want to know how many cups that is, I say to myself, okay, 8 ounces equals 1 cup. So 38 divided by 8, well, I know that 8 goes into 38 4 times, because 4 times 8 is 32. So I subtract and I get 4 left over. So remember when we talked about length yesterday, we said that when you have a remainder, that is however many units that are left over. So that means that I have 4 cups and 4 ounces left over, because that's how many I had in the beginning. All right, go ahead and solve the next one on your own. Pause the video and try to figure it out. All right, so I have drawn my King G over on the side here, and I need to figure out how many cups equal 1 quart before I can figure out how many quarts is 35 cups. So looking at my King G here, in 1 quart, I have 4 cups. So that means 4 cups equals 1 quart. This is where the advantage of using King G comes in, because if you look at your conversions chart, it only tells you how many cups are in a pint and then how many pints are in the quart. So if you were looking for a direct conversion between cups and quarts, you would have had to do 2 steps there to figure that out. If you were using your King G, you could have just seen that very easily. So now I say to myself, okay, 35 cups divided by 4. So I know that 4 can go into 35 8 times, because 8 times 4 is 32. Subtract and I get 3 remaining. So that means that over here I have 8 quarts and 3 cups. All right, let's do some word problems together. We'll do this first one together and the next one on your own. Jack uses 19 quarts more paint for the outside of a shed than for the inside. If Jack uses 89 quarts of paint in all, how many gallons will he use to paint the inside of the shed? So let's code our problem. So first of all, I know that Jack uses 19 quarts more paint for the outside of the shed than for the inside. So altogether, he used 89 quarts. Okay. It says, how many gallons will he use to paint the inside of the shed? So it says that if altogether he used 89 quarts, but he needed to use 19 more for the outside than the inside, and we're trying to figure out how much he needs for the inside, that means I need to subtract 19 quarts from his original amount. When I subtract 89 minus 19, I get 70 quarts. And that cannot be my final answer, because when I go back to the problem, it says how many gallons will he use to paint the inside of the shed. So I need to figure out 70 quarts equals how many gallons. So let's figure out how many quarts are in 1 gallon. So just thinking about my King G right now, I know that King G had 4 queens, and each of those queens stands for a quart. So that means that there are 4 quarts in 1 gallon. If I'm going from a smaller to a bigger, I need to divide. So I'm going to do 70 divided by 4. Okay, so now I say to myself, 4 can go into 7 one time. 1 times 4 is 4. Subtract and I get a 3. Bring down the 0. 4 can go into 37 times. 4 times 7 is 28. I subtract and I get a remainder of 2. So that means that Jack is going to need 17 gallons and 2 quarts. All right, go ahead and pause the video and you can do this one on your own. Okay, so you're replaying the video, hopefully because you have solved the problem. So let's decode this problem. It says, Corey brings 5 one-gallon jugs of juice to serve during a parent night at his school. So he has 5 gallons. If the paper cups he is using for drinks can only hold 8 fluid ounces, so 1 cup equals 8 ounces, how many drinks can Corey serve for parent night? So when it's talking about drinks here, to me this should really say how many cups can Corey serve at parent night. So really, do we need that information about the 8 fluid ounces? I don't really think so, because we already know that 8 fluid ounces fit inside 1 cup, but it's not asking us how many ounces Corey can serve. It's really asking us how many cups will Corey serve. So I need to figure out 5 gallons equals how many cups. So I know, thinking about my King G here, queens, pints, and cups. So in 1 gallon, there are 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16 cups. Okay, and I'm going from a bigger to smaller, so I need to multiply. So 16 times 5 will give me how many cups I need, or he has. 6 times 5 is 30, 5 times 1 is 5, plus 3 more is 8. So that means Corey has, or he can serve, 80 cups. All right, friends, it is now time for the quiz. Go to Canvas and don't forget your King G or conversion chart.